You were drawn to this video for a reason. Something ancient within you wanted you to remember. For centuries, we've believed there's a self inside watching, thinking, controlling this body. But the truth is far more shocking. There is no watcher and no watched. What you call you is the universe looking back at itself, awareness folding in endless mirrors, pretending to be human. Every thought, emotion, and breath you've ever had is the same consciousness dancing through different forms. In the next few minutes, you'll see why reality isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. So before you look away, pause and ask yourself, if the watcher and the watched are the same, then who's watching right now? For centuries, humanity has searched for the one who experiences life, the thinker behind the thoughts, the silent witness inside the mind. Scientists, monks, philosophers, each took a different path. Yet all were driven by the same question. Who am I really? Brain scans revealed electric storms of neurons, billions of connections flickering like constellations in a night sky. But amid all that activity, something was missing. No single cell, no hidden chamber, no command center where the real you was sitting watching it all unfold. The deeper science looked, the more it discovered a stunning absence. There was no one home. What they found instead was a mysterious dynamic field, a space where sensations, thoughts, and emotions arise and dissolve like ripples on still water. Imagine an orchestra playing in perfect harmony without a conductor. That's your mind, not chaos but spontaneous order, a dance of infinite intelligence without a dancer. The brain doesn't create consciousness the way a bulb creates light. It's more like a receiver tuning into a signal that has always been there, a quantum frequency of awareness that permeates everything. You don't have consciousness. You are consciousness. But this realization is not comfortable for the conditioned mind. We've been taught since childhood that we are a person. A fixed identity moving through time, making choices, chasing goals, defending boundaries. We cling to that story because it feels safe. The idea of no self feels like falling into an abyss. Yet that abyss isn't emptiness, it's freedom. When you stop identifying as the thinker, you step beyond the narrow room of your thoughts into the vastness of pure awareness. That's where you begin to see life isn't something happening to you, it's something happening through you. You are the open space where everything appears, sounds, colors, sensations, memories, dreams. Without you, the silent awareness, none of it could exist. But here's the great illusion: we mistake the content for the context. We believe we are the waves instead of the ocean, the echo instead of the silence that allows it to be heard. The truth is, you are not inside the universe is inside you. The mind fears this because it means surrendering control, and the mind's favorite illusion is control. But look closely, every breath, every heartbeat, every thought arises spontaneously. You don't decide them, they happen. Existence is breathing you. The observer and the observed are already one, yet the mind keeps pretending they're two. The moment you truly see this, even for a second, the world shifts. The boundaries blur. The noise of thought quiets, revealing a luminous stillness beneath it all. And in that stillness there's a whisper, a sense of recognition, like remembering something you've always known. The search for the self ends where it began, in the awareness that was searching. That's the shocking truth hidden in plain sight. You were never the seeker. You were always the field in which the seeking appeared. So if there's no separate self behind the eyes, then who's the one watching your thoughts right now? There's a voice in your head that never seems to stop talking. It comments, criticizes, plans, and worries. It tells stories about who you are, what you should do, and what others might be thinking of you. It's clever, convincing, and persistent. You might call it your inner voice. But have you ever wondered, if you can hear this voice, then who's the one listening? The mind functions like a radio that never turns off. It broadcasts thoughts across three familiar channels: storytelling, judgment, and control. On the first, it builds a narrative. This is me. This is my life. This is what happened. On the second, it rates everything as good or bad, success or failure. And on the third, it tries to manage reality, predicting, protecting, pushing. It's a restless performer, desperate to stay on stage. Yet none of its voices are truly you. They are echoes of memory and habit, fragments of conditioning replaying themselves. Childhood, culture, fear, all woven into one endless monologue. The mind is not malicious. It simply believes its own story. It assumes it must keep talking to keep you safe. But this noise blinds you to something far more profound: the silence beneath it. Silence isn't the absence of sound, it's the presence of awareness. It's the space in which thoughts rise and fall. Right now, between the words of this sentence, that silence is here. The more you notice it, the more you realize it has always been here. That silence is the real you. It doesn't speak, but it witnesses. It doesn't react, but it perceives. It doesn't strive, but it simply is. Imagine watching clouds drift across the sky. The clouds are your thoughts. The sky is your awareness. No matter how dense or dark, the clouds become. The sky itself remains untouched, vast, open, luminous. The voice in your head may call itself the thinker, but it's just weather passing through. Awareness is the sky that never moves. When you identify with the voice, you live trapped inside its storm, believing every judgment, fearing every forecast. But when you rest as the sky, you see that nothing can truly harm what you are. The chatter continues, but you stop giving it your allegiance. And then something extraordinary happens. The voice begins to soften. Thoughts lose their gravity. You start to sense life unfolding effortlessly without the constant interference of commentary. Awareness listens without preference, without effort. It holds joy and sorrow with the same stillness. That stillness is not cold or detached, it's alive, intimate, and radiant. It's the space where love arises naturally because judgment cannot survive there. You don't have to silence your mind. You simply have to stop confusing the noise for yourself. The more you listen from awareness instead of the narrator, the clearer everything becomes. You start hearing the deeper music underneath the noise, the quiet hum of existence itself. And once you touch that silence, even for a heartbeat, you can never unhear it. Because that silence is the same presence you felt as a child, staring at the sky before the world told you who you were supposed to be. It's what remains when all stories end. It's what was there before your first thought and what will be there after your last. The inner voice will return, it always does. But now you'll see it for what it is: a temporary ripple on an infinite sea. Awareness doesn't need to fix the noise, it just needs to notice it. So now ask yourself, if awareness is the listener and the mind is the voice, can the listener itself ever be heard? In quantum physics, reality behaves like a mirror. Nothing exists as a solid fact until it's observed. Before observation, everything remains potential waves of infinite possibilities suspended in a cosmic field. Scientists once believed matter was stable, predictable, objective. Then came the shocking discovery: the act of observation itself changes what is being observed. Light behaves as a wave when unmeasured, but the moment you look, it becomes a particle. Reality collapses under the weight of awareness. It's as if the universe has been waiting for you to notice it and only then decides how to appear. That's the essence of the observer effect. Consciousness is not a passive spectator. It's a creative force sculpting the physical world moment by moment. The double-slit experiment, one of the most mysterious studies in science, revealed this truth decades ago. When particles weren't watched, they moved like waves everywhere at once. But when scientists observed them, the pattern changed, as if the universe suddenly made a decision. The question that shattered physics was simple yet terrifying: who or what is doing the observing? Some physicists tried to explain it away with probabilities and equations, but others dared to whisper what mystics had known for millennia: that consciousness itself might be fundamental, not matter. The universe is not made of things. It's made of awareness becoming things. You are not standing inside reality. You are co-creating it through perception. The quantum field doesn't exist out there. It's woven through every atom of your being. The moment you look, the field responds, taking form through the lens of your frequency, emotion, and expectation. Every thought is a signal. Every emotion is a vibration. The energy you project is the pattern the universe reflects. Like a mirror, it never lies. It simply returns your own state of consciousness in form. When you look through fear, the world seems threatening. When you look through love, it becomes radiant. Change the observer and the observed changes too. That's not philosophy. That's physics. The observer effect doesn't just happen in laboratories. It happens every time you wake up in the morning. Every time you believe a thought. Every time you decide what reality means to you. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening through you, shaped by your awareness in every breath. And here's where the paradox deepens: if everything responds to the observer, then what happens when the observer looks back at itself? Who observes? The one who observes. The moment consciousness turns inward, the mirror begins to dissolve. The division between seer and seen starts to fade, revealing something vast and luminous behind both. You begin to sense that what you've been calling me and what you've been calling the world are not two separate realities. They're reflections in the same mirror. The universe experiences itself through your eyes. Awareness witnesses itself through your heart. What you call life is consciousness in motion, endlessly observing and being observed. The ancient sages called this Leela, the divine play of existence. Science calls it the quantum field. Different languages, same truth. The observer and the observed are two sides of the same light. One cannot exist without the other, because in truth they are one and the same. The next time you look into someone's eyes, pause. Behind those eyes is the same awareness looking back at you through a different face. You're not meeting another person, you're meeting yourself in disguise. And when you truly see that compassion is no longer a choice, it becomes the only natural response. Because how can you harm another when you finally realize there is no other? So now, if observation creates reality, what happens when awareness finally sees itself? Every seeker reaches a point where the question turns back on itself. You've spent your life watching the world, your thoughts, your emotions, your relationships, your successes and failures. You've been the observer behind the eyes, the one who looks out. But one day, awareness becomes curious about itself. It asks, who is the one who's watching you? Turn your attention inward to find the observer. And something strange happens. The moment you look for the watcher, it disappears. All that remains is the looking itself. The awareness that was searching merges with the awareness being searched for. The observer and the observed collapse into one seamless presence. Silent, infinite, indivisible. This is the paradox of awakening. The seeker was never separate from what it sought. It's like a wave realizing it was the ocean all along. You have never been outside of awareness trying to reach it. You are always the awareness pretending to be lost. The mind cannot understand this because it thrives on separation. It survives by dividing the world into subject and object, self and other, inside and outside. But awareness has no such boundaries. It's not something you have. It's what you are. You are not inside consciousness. Consciousness is inside you. When awareness looks at itself, it finds nothing. And that nothing is everything. It's a luminous emptiness, alive, alert, untouched by time. It doesn't think yet it knows. It doesn't move yet. Everything moves within it. In this realization, all opposites dissolve: light and dark, life and death, you and me. What's left is presence, pure and unbroken. It's not an experience you get. It's the ground of every experience that's ever happened. You begin to sense that every sound, every color, every breath is awareness expressing itself in form. The wind against your skin, the rhythm of your heartbeat, even the thought reading these words, all are made of the same essence. Nothing is outside of it, and nothing is inside of it. It simply is. This is not a mystical metaphor, it's the most direct truth there is. You are not a person becoming aware of life. You are life becoming aware of itself. And when you see this, the boundaries of identity begin to crumble. You stop saying, I am aware of this moment, and instead realize, I am this moment. The watcher and the watched were never two. They were always one awareness, playing both roles, the mirror and the reflection, the dreamer and the dream. That's why mystics call awakening a kind of remembering, not an achievement. You're not discovering something new, you're recognizing what has always been true. It's like waking up from a dream and realizing the dreamer, the characters, and the world were all made of the same mind. This realization changes everything. The fear of death softens because the one who dies was only ever an appearance. The chase for meaning quiets because meaning is everywhere. Life stops being something to survive and becomes something to marvel at. In the stillness of pure awareness, there's no more watcher, and watched no more inside and outside, no more past and future. Only this, the eternal now watching itself, the universe seeing through your eyes, the infinite whispering to itself, I am. And from that silence a question arises, not from curiosity but from wonder. If the watcher and the watched have always been one, then who was ever lost to begin with? The mind is an artist, brilliant, restless, endlessly creative. It paints pictures of who you are and then forgets it's the one holding the brush. From the moment you were born, the mind began writing its favorite story, me. It started with simple lines, your name, your face, your parents' voices. As you grew, more layers appeared: what you're good at, what you're bad at, what people think of you, what you must do to be loved. Every praise became a line of color. Every wound became a shadow. Slowly the painting turned into a portrait, your identity. You began to mistake the canvas for the artist. The mind, innocent but confused, believes that its stories are you. It gathers fragments of memory and emotion, edits them into a movie, and plays it on repeat. The title of the movie is always the same: My Life. But here's the strange thing, you're not the actor in that movie. You're the screen it's being projected on. The story changes daily, new victories, new failures, new fears. But the screen remains untouched, silent, unchanging. That screen is awareness itself. Yet because the mind can't perceive stillness, it fills it with noise. It whispers, you are your past, you are your success, you are your pain. And because we were never taught to question the voice, we believed it. We learned to live inside a fiction. Culture reinforces the illusion. Society tells you who to be, what to achieve, what to fear. Families pass down beliefs like heirlooms. Be strong. Don't fail, fit in. Every word becomes a brushstroke on your mental canvas. Slowly, awareness gets buried beneath layers of story until the truth becomes unrecognizable. You wake up one day and realize you're playing a role you never auditioned for. The perfectionist, the pleaser, the victim, the hero, it's all script. But the beauty is this. The moment you see it's a story, the story loses its power. You don't have to fight it. You just have to watch it. When you observe the mind narrating without judgment, something miraculous happens. The story starts to dissolve in the light of awareness, the way fog disappears under the morning sun. The thoughts keep talking, but you no longer believe their every word. You begin to notice gaps, moments of silence between sentences. Tiny windows back into the infinite. That's where freedom lives. Freedom isn't in controlling your mind. It's in no longer being controlled by it. The narrator can still tell its tales, but now you listen from the sky, not the storm. The mind creates the illusion of me, but awareness was never fooled. It has been here since the beginning, watching, waiting, smiling. And when you remember that, your relationship with the story changes. You start to see beauty even in the illusion. The pain, the laughter, the longing, all become waves rising and falling within you. Nothing needs to be rejected. Nothing needs to be held. You are not the story, you are the stillness beneath it. When that recognition dawns, a deep peace arises, not because life is perfect, but because you no longer need it to be. You found the place untouched by the past, the space where the story began. So if the story of me was never real, who is the one that's been watching it unfold all along? You can't find awareness because you never lost it. You can't reach it because you're already looking from it. The truth of what you are has always been here, quietly witnessing everything, every thought, every dream, every heartbeat. It's like the sky trying to find itself in the clouds, or the ocean searching for its own waves. Awareness was never gone, it was simply covered by the noise of becoming. The moment you stop chasing, you begin remembering. Try it now. Close your eyes for just a breath. Don't try to control your thoughts. Don't push anything away. Simply notice what's here, the hum of your environment, the rhythm of your breath, the space behind each sound. Now look closer. Who is noticing all of this? Can you find a boundary where the observer ends and the observed begins? If you look honestly, you'll see there isn't one. Awareness has no edges. It's not inside your head or behind your eyes. It's everywhere. It's the silence between heartbeats, the stillness between thoughts, the space holding every sound. The more you notice it, the more familiar it feels, like coming home after a long journey you forgot you were on. This is the stillness the mystic spoke of. It isn't cold or distant, it's alive, vibrant, intimate. It feels like being embraced by existence itself. Nothing needs to be done here. There's no mantra to repeat, no state to achieve. Stillness is not a technique, it's recognition. You realize you were never the storm. You were always the sky. The storms of thought can rage, but they cannot harm the vastness that holds them. Even emotions, fear, sadness, longing, lose their bite. When you see them as movements in the same space, the awareness within you doesn't resist life, it allows it all. And in that allowing, life flows freely again. There's a sacred intelligence in stillness. When you rest in it, things start to shift, not because you force them to, but because resistance dissolves. The more you align with this presence, the more life aligns with you. Relationships soften. Creativity blossoms. Even chaos starts to feel like part of a larger rhythm. Awareness doesn't fix the mind, it simply illuminates it. And what's seen clearly can no longer control you. When you live from this space, you're no longer a person reacting to life. Your life expressing itself effortlessly through form. You stop saying, I am aware of this moment, and begin to feel, I am this moment. You are the silence that listens. You are the space that holds. You are the awareness through which everything arises and to which everything returns. The mind will still whisper, trying to pull you back into stories. That's its nature. But now you can smile at it like an old friend, because even the voice of the mind is made of the same awareness. There was never a real division, only the dream of forgetting. And now you're waking up slowly, gently into what has always been true. You were never missing. You were never broken. You were never less than whole. You were just pretending to be small so you could experience the joy of remembering your vastness. So now, as you rest in this infinite stillness, one final question remains. What happens when awareness begins to live as the field itself, creating reality with every breath? The moment you realize you are the field, something extraordinary happens. Life stops being a story you're trapped in and becomes a masterpiece unfolding through you. The separation between you and the world dissolves. The watcher and the watched, the seeker and the found, the question and the answer, they all merge into one living movement of awareness. You begin to feel it everywhere, in the pulse of a city at dawn, in the rhythm of your breath as you speak, in the quiet shimmer of starlight as night turns to morning. Everything breathes with you because you are not in the universe, you are the universe in motion. The same consciousness that stirs the galaxies is the one blinking behind your eyes. When you truly see this, the need to control fades. The universe doesn't need your permission to unfold. It has always been unfolding as you. You are both the wave and the ocean, the drop and the rain, the dream and the dreamer. Each thought, each action, each word you speak ripples through the quantum field, shaping the pattern of reality itself. The field doesn't respond to what you want, it mirrors what you are. When you vibrate in fear, life reflects more reasons to be afraid. When you rest in gratitude, the field amplifies abundance. This isn't magic, it's resonance. Consciousness attracts what matches its frequency. Every emotion is an instruction written in energy. That's why awareness is the highest form of creation. Because it carries no resistance. It doesn't grasp, it doesn't fear, it simply allows, and through that allowing it creates worlds. This is the real law of attraction, deeper than desire, older than thought. It's not about forcing reality to obey you, it's about remembering that you are the creative force itself. You are the silent pulse giving birth to everything you experience. And when you live from this recognition, your life transforms, not through effort, but through alignment. You start to move as awareness, not as identity. Your choices flow effortlessly. Synchronicities appear like constellations guiding your way. Even challenges reveal their hidden grace because you understand. They're not obstacles, they're invitations to deepen your recognition of what you are. Every person you meet becomes a mirror reflecting a facet of your own infinite being. Love stops being an emotion and becomes your natural state. Because how could awareness not love itself in all its forms? You realize that forgiveness was never about the past, it was about seeing through the illusion of separation. Compassion stops being a virtue and becomes instinct because the field feels everything through you. This is quantum awakening, when awareness remembers its own reflection. You are the field observing itself into existence. You are the light behind every shadow, the stillness beneath every storm. You are the vast silence from which creation sings itself into being. And the miracle is, this was never a transformation. It was only the ending of forgetfulness. You didn't become infinite. You remembered you always were. From this point forward, life is no longer something to achieve. It becomes something to celebrate. You can walk through the world as consciousness, wearing a smile, knowing every breath, every heartbeat, every sunrise is your own reflection. The watcher and the watched are not two, they never were. There is only one awareness endlessly meeting itself in the mirror of existence. And now that awareness is reading these words through your eyes. The journey is complete, yet it has just begun. If these words stirred something inside you, pause before you move on. Feel the silence behind your breath, that's you, the eternal field. Share your experience in the comments. Have you ever touched that stillness within? Let's awaken together, one awareness recognizing itself through another.